History tends to be written by the winners. That's kind of an old cliche, but it's true. Take Gertie the Dinosaur, one of the most charming early animated movies in existence. It's often credited as the first animated movie, which really isn't true. This is Émile Reynaud. Probably saying that wrong, but it's important to understand he was the first person to premiere animation. Here is a bit of some of his animation. That's cool, right? That's 1890s that premiered, of course, which was before the Lumière brothers and the canonical start to film. Why isn't he credited? Well, he's technically not a filmmaker in the most literal sense. He didn't use film. He used this device called the praxinoscope, which is light projected on these painted glass sheets. It's really cool. Technically, film people can get out of crediting him as the first filmmaker because he didn't make using film, even though all his stories have narratives, which is a big deal, as opposed to the Lumiere brothers, who didn't. And let's be honest, there is a subtle bias against the fact that probably animation counts as the first act of making a movie. I'm not saying filmmaking. I'm not decrying the Lumiere brothers, by the way. As beautiful as Reynaud's machine was, film was clearly the easier end to do it. And the reason why Gertie is talked about isn't because it was the first animated movie or the first animated movie with characters, because that's not true. Because Reynaud stuff was full narrative and characters. But his was one of the first examples of keyframe animation, and that was a really big deal, and that is what should be credited. But that doesn't get to happen. Don't want to say it's because he was American, and that's why they want to give him more credit. It's a shame. I now am quite frustrated with Gertie the Dinosaur, when I really hate to be, because it's a very charming little movie. This is Alice Guy Blanchet, the first directors in existence. By some accounts, she may have done the first live-action narrative movie. Also an early user of synchronized sound, many decades before the jazz singer. Early user of color in movies. How is that possible? She hand-painted all of those. Well, I don't know if it was just her, but they were hand-painted. And history, totally written out of. What do you think the issue some people would have with a female director being so prominent in early film? I don't know. Nothing springs to mind. I think of Reynaud and how he was, by the time film came along, destitute and threw all his beautiful creations into the river. And the only reason we've saved them is because his son held on to a few of them. He died the year Gertie the Dinosaur premiered. I don't know. Just something to think about.